Hello and welcome to Mangator 96, and today we're going to talk about Arifureta Shokugyou de Sekai Saikyou. Today's topic will be the relationship between the Demon King and the hero. Usually, there are two ways that a relationship between a Demon King and a hero is depicted in fiction. The first one is a relationship full of animosity, while the second is a relationship full of love, especially if one of the two is of the opposite sex. In the case of Hajime and Koki, their relationship is definitely the former, with them taking baby steps of reaching a relationship where they're neutral to each other for the most part. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as we'll be spoiling a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you go and read the light novel and web novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start on how the relationship developed from a neutral standpoint to that of hate, and to accepting that they don't like each other but can work together if the occasion arises. Back on Earth, Hajime had a neutral stance about Koki and ignored the fact that the latter envied him. He only had a little bit of good intent towards Koki because he is a close friend of Kaori and Shizuko. However, after arriving in Tortos, Hajime hates Koki for the most part, as he mostly considers the so-called hero to be a large nuisance for him to deal with because of Koki's bad habit of only believing what fits his own worldview and his annoying sense of justice, even after he had failed so many times because of it. While Koki one-sidedly sees Hajime as a rival, Hajime sees Koki as a masochistic hero and an immature, stubborn, dim-witted and spoiled brat with grand words lost in his own delusions. In Volume 4, as a former member of the hero party who had learned about A's true nature, as well as having become powerful enough to survive on his own in Tortos, Hajime refuses to take any orders from Koki anymore, as he was deeply annoyed by his self-righteous, naive belief and his delusional pride of being A's chosen hero, which makes him think that he has the right to enforce his misguided justice upon Hajime's party. This negative relationship is further enforced by them having completely opposite ways of thinking, as Koki is an idealistic dimwit obsessing over his delusional sense of justice, while Hajime is a disillusionized realist who only cares about surviving and returning to Japan with his harem. When Hajime's comrades were greatly annoyed and disgusted by Koki's insolence, he self-righteously challenged Hajime to an unarmed duel to claim them by force, only to be easily defeated and humiliated by Hajime when he tossed the dim-witted Koki into a pitfall filled with tear gas grenades to end such a pointless duel. Hajime even preferred not to explain to Koki about A's true nature as an evil god and his schemes in summoning their class to Tortos as pawns for his mad death game because he knew Koki was dim-witted enough to never believe him given his delusional idealism, immense pride as A's hero of Tortos, and the hero worship he had received from A's worshippers of the Holy Church and the Holy Kingdom before being revealed as a fabricated lie. In Volume 6, even though Hajime saved him and the rest of his classmates twice already, Koki still held immense resentment towards his former classmate as he couldn't accept Hajime's choices to abandon the people of Tortos to their own fate under A's tyranny because it contradicts his own ideals. Unlike Ryotaro and Shizuko, who appreciated Hajime for reviving Kaori, Koki was the only one who doesn't express gratitude to Hajime due to both his jealousy and his stubborn adherence to his misguided self-righteousness and delusional justice. Koki was also the only one who condemned Hajime for murdering Hiyama in spite of the traitor's atrocities. Also, in Volume 6, when Aiko and Princess Liliana exposed A's true evil nature and his schemes to his classmates, Koki stubbornly tried to blame Hajime for allowing Hiyama and Eri to betray them and allowing Fried to invade the Holy Kingdom by not warning them earlier about the truth of A. Hajime, however, scolded the dim-witted hero for his delusional justice and idealism that really caused it, such as his naive expectation that his classmates are naturally obliged to help and protect each other, which are the very weakness that only allowed both Eri and Hiyama to betray him without even noticing until it was too late. Hajime also coldly criticized Koki's lack of resolve, that led to all his failures during the important moments despite originally being the strongest out of them. When Koki berated him for refusing to use his newfound powers of ancient magic for his useless justice, as that is not what Hajime wanted. Rather, as what he desired is to use the power of Age of Gods magic to return to Japan. Hajime even disparaged Koki's delusional heroic beliefs to be ridiculous and childish, telling him that strength is nothing more than a curse if one must be obliged to do things simply because they have power to do so, regardlessly of their own personal wishes. On Kaori's request, Hajime gave Koki, Suzu, Shizuku and Ryotaro another chance to join him in clearing the remaining Great Labyrinths and to gain Edge of God magic, but he warned Koki if he continuously enforced his delusion upon him and his comrades, it will be Koki's turn to die in a miserable death similar to Hiyama. Due to Hajime's new wild appearance, Koki became more jealous of his ability of getting a harem of more beautiful girls, including Kaori and later also Shizuko, while he himself lost all of his popularity for girls completely after Hajime won their hearts. Koki even furiously questioned why Hajime is the only one who has a harem and he himself doesn't have one. Hajime also outright told Koki in both the Highly Kingdom and again in the Holshire Empire that he himself doesn't care about the latter's misguided justice by clearly stating that they are neither friends nor comrades and certainly do not believe in the same ideology. He also clearly stated he himself is not obliged to do things the way Koki wants, like Shizuku and Ryotaro had, and if Koki continues trying to enforce his stupid justice on him, then Hajime will break his arms and legs before sending him back to the Highly Kingdom. In Volume 10, during the final trial in the Fourth Cavern of Schnee Labyrinth, Koki was corrupted by his doppelganger and he decided to try killing Hajime in order to take his harem for himself and continue his pointless heroic crusade as ex-chosen hero. Hajime finally lost his patience with Koki's delusions and thus brutally retaliated by shooting both of Koki's kneecaps and ruthlessly trashing him. When continually overpowering Koki easily, Hajime called Koki pathetic of his weak effort. He also sharply criticizes Koki that the reason why he failed at everything he did in Tortoise up until their second fight is because of his foolish choices to stubbornly prioritize both his delusional pride and naive justice over everything else, especially the realization of his own goals. It got even worse when Koki said Yue's name without honorifics. Hajime brutalized Koki even further due to him having no right to say the name that he gave to Yue so casually. Hajime initially wanted to kill Koki to prevent another similar situation from occurring again, but chose to spare his life for Shizuku and Kaori's sake by separating him from his doppelganger and killing it before punching the latter unconscious, thereby ending another pointless fight between them. When Hajime and Yue were creating the crystal key that will bring them back to Japan, Koki and everyone else experienced what Hajime went through upon falling into the depths of the Great Orcus Labyrinth, personally witnessing the pain, hunger, loneliness and his determination to survive and return home. Koki was finally able to see that all of his convenient misinterpretation of Hajime were completely wrong from the start and that all of his own problems in Tortoise, from his failures to the loss of his prestige as the hero, were utterly trivial compared to Hajime's hardship. He was also able to understand both Hajime's strong desire to return home and the source of his power, along with why he couldn't match Hajime no matter what he tried to do, unlike when Shizuku tried explaining it to him. It's because of both the difference in their resolve to accomplish their goals and their circumstances that contributed to their strengths. This is reflected on the fact that Koki had heavily relied on both X's blessing of a chosen hero and the support from the former hero party, the Highly Kingdom and the Holy Church for pointless hero crusades. Hajime, on the other hand, was forced to survive the immense brutality of the Great Orcus Labyrinth on his own without X's blessing or anyone else to support before discovering Yue there, where, even after seeing Hajime's memories of his fall, he still stubbornly insists that Hajime stole everything from him and believes he is not mistaken in his belief out of stubborn denial to accept his own negative qualities and failures. In the afterstory, however, Koki has trouble sorting out his feelings towards Hajime, as due to his past actions and failures in Tortoise, he thereafter could not bring himself to be angry at Hajime, but is rather disappointed at himself for being so completely indecisive and not strong enough to realize his ideals. Then he was summoned to another world named Arkuet, particularly the Sankli Kingdom, to be the hero and defeat the dark beings that attacked the kingdom. When they attacked, he thought about asking Hajime to transport the dark beings to another world, so that the people of Sankli Kingdom could be safe and the dark beings could survive without harming others. He was reminded of Hajime's wave of predators in those close to him when he heard Konoe's wish to save her sister above all. When Koki was about to escape from Arkuet that was attacked by the dark beings, he thought about how he wanted to meet Hajime again along with his family and friends. After defeating the dark beings that were attacking Arkuet, Koki resolved himself to fight for the sake of what he believed while accepting everything in contrast to Hajime's view of dividing the world between enemy and ally. Koki and Hajime finally reunited when Koki was about to be attacked by a pack of dark beings as Hajime dispatched them. He then asked Koki to go back with him, but Koki refused as he wanted to save Moana. Thinking that Koki's delusional hero complex has returned, Hajime said that he would call Shizuko to give him a lecture, but Koki resolved himself to stay to save Moana. After the rest of Koki's friends left the decision of Koki's retrieval to Hajime, he wanted to confirm if Koki thought that his choice was correct to himself, to which Koki responded that such a thing didn't matter, an answer that impressed Hajime. Hajime then went to defend Arkuet so Koki could save Moana, as he sent Koki off with the aid of Griffon Grim Reapers. When asked by the others why he lent Koki his aid instead of dragging him back, it is revealed that Hajime was curious as to where Koki is going to end up. After helping defeat the dark beings, Hajime was willing to grant Koki's request of taking Moana with him. Right after saving the Sankli Kingdom, however, Koki was again summoned and also Hajime into another world named the Factory World by a combat support AI G10 by coincidence. During their time in the Factory World, they worked together as they fought against the evil AI with the help of G10, Kosuke, who was summoned by Mother, Noint, Nemte and Jasper. After defeating Mother, Koki got summoned again, this time to the Fairy World and now by an actual goddess named Aldora Lee Raffet, while dragging Hajime and Kosuke with him, similar to the previous summoning. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on the relationship between those two. And that will be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.